Welcome back to Block TV. This is Trader's Take, and we have a very special one today. That is the 31st of December. Yes, the very last day of the year, and so we are joined by our very own technical analyst, Joe Saz. Joe, you want to take us through the year in the crypto markets? Let's run it down, see what it had in store.
Yeah, a year in a nutshell. It's interesting as a trader to have been now part of two of these. You know, it's like years fly. You know, I remember Bitcoin at 20K and hoping it was going to 2 million, and I remember Bitcoin at 3,000, expecting it to go to 1. So I mean, it's been a wild ride the past couple of years, and this year in particular has been pretty wild. I mean, so let's do this recap. I mean, here on the I pulled up a weekly chart here. And here's pretty much, let's see, October, November, December. Here's where we begin the new year. January was a little bit of a bust. December 31st, we ended up here. January, we came back down a little bit. So I guess, this kind of does play into what I said yesterday about January being not the best month of crypto months. But obviously from there we reversed, and it's been such a wild ride. I don't know if you remember me saying how much of a bear I was in denial along this ride up. This was, quite intense, ending in what I don't know. This is kind of weird. It's really hard for me to say if this is a bull flag or not, because we accelerated our trends so quickly, almost creating like a mini hyperwave or something. And obviously that would be more Socrates territory. But you can see that we had this parabolic uptrend. These angles just kept getting sharper and sharper. And on the way down, we don't really have that. We just kind of have a channel. So I'm kind of looking at this, and it's been a while since I've really taken a good hard look at the weekly. This year's been good. It started off with a little bit of 13% move in that first week of January. But we stabled out and built something very strong. And, there's something even more important in this coming year, which is going to put us right around here, happening. So hopefully we can hit this thing right. I mean, in a year we've made it all the way up from a low of 3,000, let's say 3,400 or so. What's this low? 3,500 ish, and we're sitting at 100% gains. So Bitcoin isn't performing too terribly. Again, if Bitcoin does take a step back, and it has been, we went parabolic. Speculation for that, we can go around in circles, but nevertheless, we did go up a little too fast in Bitcoin's history. When it does that, we do come down a little bit more slowly than we went up. So I'm trying to figure out, are we done with this upside move? I mean, the major difference to note here is that in this parabolic uptrend, we had a very violent breakdown. Very violent breakdown. I mean, from 20K over the next few weeks, maybe 2 months or so, it didn't take long for us to go down to 75% of the value of that all-time high, approximately. So, and then not to mention the long grind, the weeks after weeks of grind before we finally capitulated. We broke down. I did not really think of this as much capitulation, maybe until the bottom phase of it. But, you see here that we haven't really had a capitulation phase. And if anything, this candle right here saved it. We had this big pump, and this looks like a capitulation candle. This looks like a capitulation candle, right? Very similar in structure. And even with a little bit of a rebound and a cup and a breakout, similar here, but we broke out, full retrace. So Bitcoin is really, it's so funny to be an analyst in Bitcoin. It's like you have to be on your toes at all times, because the landscape for trading and analyzing Bitcoin and identifying patterns specific to Bitcoin, that changes so constantly. So, we have two very different examples of a bull bear market scenario, and I'm hoping that we can make it through this, ending the year pretty positive, I would say. If you're up 100% on the year, that's pretty positive. So we're up 100% on the year. Hopefully this thing can, we can make it into the next, like that 2 months of wiggle room that I give before the halvening hype really kicks in. I'm hoping that we can have, not too much downside. Obviously, I will get bearish if I need to, but this consolidation pretty important to me, as well as the indication that Bitcoin is pretty strong right now, and it's this is a price that people are psychologically accepting as a valuable price to buy Bitcoin. So as long as that's happening, and we have a ton of buyers, at some point this transition phase is going to hit the end of its book, and we'll start to see a shift from that into the next, and the next volume there should be a bull market, and I'm not expecting this transition to fail. We do have a couple of potential things going down in January 2020. Craig Wright was kind of the instigator of some of these rumors, and we all know him to be the fantastic fraud that he is. So I'm not really too worried about the known unknowns that could cause a crash, the unknown unknowns. I'm not really seeing too much of that right now. I think that's mostly out of the way in 2018. 2019, we have a happening. So let's hit this thing hard.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had to wrap up 2019 for Bitcoin in 10 words or less, what would it be?
Pretty much in 10 words or less, it would be, you either made it or you got broken. I mean, the parabolic uptrend was very hard to call, and people that called that, made some money, but they probably were moon boys, So I think this has been a very choppy year. 10 words or less, been a very choppy year. Be careful.
I know. Well, okay, let's hope that 2020 is not choppy, but just up. Now we have that halvening. There's a lot of big things coming for 2020. Who knows what will happen? But right now we want to take a look back. Let's take a look back 2019 for Ethereum. How was 2019 for Ethereum?
Yeah, let's get Ethereum up here. USD, and let's do this. We can hit this on Coinbase. We have some good numbers. Let's jump into the weekly here. Wow, this actually looks a lot less fun than Bitcoin did, huh? Wow. So when did we start? 2019, right here. Taking a quick look, just scanning through. We look at January. We kicked January off with a pretty, a series of red candles. So I'm really thinking. I'm right now. I'm already evaluating what I should set up some stops on my long positions, because this downside was pretty significant. 25% move to the downside, opening the year out 4 or 5%, and then we started to get some rebound. Obviously we had a nice kick up, a low in the year of 2019 of $100.90, it looks like, and then or 100, just above $100, let's say, and a high of 364. So 3x, 3.6x your money. Not nearly as dramatic as some of these other cryptos, but it looks like Ethereum had a little bit of a run. I mean, I'm sure you can take note of this, and this just does not look nearly as interesting as Bitcoin did on the yearly. But I'm trying to look at this. I'm seeing maybe a very vague and kind of poorly drawn head and shoulders formation. If I get rid of some of, let me do something like this. I mean, this is kind of important, but it's very vague. It's almost like too vague for me. This might be like a little bit angled head and shoulders type situation. No definition though, so I don't know. Ethereum is just looking kind of like a blender food or something. What do they call that? Like a protein shake.
Protein shake actually sounds pretty good. Are you using that in a positive connotation, or what kind of connotation are you trying to say there?
No, I'm using it in
I drink my protein shakes to get buff.
And tasteless and fake flavor. This looks like some fake flavor additive right here.
Some food coloring. Some food coloring.
Yeah, I mean, we mostly went sideways. We had a couple pops, and then we just retraced it. Everything that the year did for Ethereum, for the most part, we're $30 away from a full retrace of the year's action. I mean, we opened the year at 100. We're up 30. We're up $30, and 33% is good. But I mean, I think this thing's going to come full retrace. I think be careful, this thing's probably not going to make it, into pump territory anytime soon. We're looking at the hard fork, the surprise hard fork here pretty soon. So let's see if that has any impact, and that's unfortunately not going to close the year out, but it'll certainly it can certainly set us up for a red bloody January.
So overall, you weren't impressed with the year Ethereum had, kind of stagnated and fell back to where it started, almost $30 up. All right, let's take a look, switch over to XRP. What was 2019 for XRP?
All right. So this is the chart that I first drew for BLOCKTV. I'm pretty sure this is one of my first charts. Let's see, and this article was published in November last year. So let's see here. How did this thing all pan out? We did get the test to this baseline. We did get our break through it. Obviously, months later, I was expecting this to happen in May 2019. We didn't get the break until September. So let's see, that's 4 months later. 4 months later, we get our break. Sorry, guys. We get our break. We're in a descending channel. I mean, this year is looking terrible. Straight up. Here's 2019. We're much lower than the open of 2019. I mean, this is actually looking really bad. And it's kind of funny. We haven't really done this, but it's really interesting to see that that we do have very different behavior patterns on bigger timescales with these cryptocurrencies. So now I might as well just draw this thing out right over here. We're looking at lower lows, and we're consistently doing this. Obviously, here is probably another significant one. So the more lower lows we have, it's just going to push us down further. Again, this is as far as trading an asset is concerned, you have to really analyze the psychology behind the buyers and sellers of the asset. And if you see lower low after lower low, you have to question, is this the time to buy? Is there enough blood in the streets? And there's that one quote from Leah Wald's Medium article. And I think she quotes Baron Rothschild saying, buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it is your own. And I'm looking at this chart and I'm trying to ask myself, is there blood in the streets? And is it worth buying even if it is my own? And I'm just not seeing that clear signal. The clear signal of buy when there's blood in the streets is probably more when when the psychological Twitter sphere is going nuts, or people are saying hold on for dear life, and don't worry guys, this is we're part of something big. I'm not really seeing people have to band together around a campfire and play kumbaya right now. So I'm not really seeing the blood in the streets in XRP. I think this thing's just going down. We're floating, like I've said, in outer space, and I think this thing's just going to continue making its way to lower lows until there's ultimately a much bigger capitulation candle. Probably going to be around double digits. If I had to guess on a weekly candle what the capitulation is before XRP reverses, I would guess a 20 to 30% drop in a single week before any certain capitulation and rebound.
If there's anything I could say for you, 2019 Joe Saz, it has been consistently being bearish on XRP. Now let's change gears a little bit. Can we take a look at Bitcoin dominance throughout the year? Let's kind of see, because it's kind of hit extremes on both ends throughout the year. I think at some point it almost hit 50%. Now it's very high. Let's take a look at 2019 Bitcoin dominance in the cryptosphere.
Yeah, let's hit this. First thing I'm going to do is just mute some of these other things just to get rid of some of that noise, and then we'll bring it all back. Wow. All right. Wow. So I drew this back quite a bit. 2019 starts over here at a value of around, you were pretty much spot on, 50%, 55-ish. Bitcoin hit a low of 36%. Wow, that was the altcoin bubble, when Bitcoin bubbled, of course. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. From 50 to 70% is a big move. From 30 to 50% is a big move. And it looks like we're stabilizing. I mean, this looks pretty strong right now. If I was looking at this as a bull run for the price of an asset, I would say this is looking beautiful to me. This is exactly what I wanted to see in Bitcoin coming out of those December, January 2018, 2019 lows. I want to see a bottom, pretty decisive exit, a test, and then a new high, consolidation, continuation of the trend, consolidation, and continuation of the trend. I mean, this year is looking fantastic for Bitcoin dominance. I say that this is extremely stable, and this is exactly what I wish I could see in price, but I just don't see that right now. Unfortunately, maybe Bitcoin dominance might have to be some sort of indication method.
Right now, Joe, I was just informed that Bitcoin actually just got a major pump right now. You want to take a quick look at that? Take us through it.
Yeah, let's take a look at it on an exchange. Oh man, up to 73, capped out, broke down. Let's see. All this is going to be dynamic sell side action. 75 pack. Let's see here. So this 70 pack wasn't there. This 70 pack did get eaten. So sellers are showing up in numbers. Let's see what buyers are doing. Got a lot of volume. Let's dissect this real quick. This is what I would be doing if I was making a trade right this second. We're at 72.63 on Coinbase Pro inverted hammer on the 15-minute. Liquidity is dropping. Very interesting. I mean, looks like sellers are stacking, buyers are stacking. Very dynamic. So let's break this the volume of this down, and there we go. And let's see what the volume is. Mostly selling. Mostly selling. I might even drop this down a bit smaller. So let's take a look. It's all right here. All right, so let's see who did it. We definitely have the biggest action was a sell, and we have a little bit of stuff in between there, but this is really crazy. Buyers are showing up, but they're not really. Oh wow, and look at that, we're tumbling down. Full retrace. Are we doing it, Fiona?
Do you think that was a quick whale pump? What do you think was behind that quick pump, and now it's just shooting back down? What do you think caused that?
Accumulation, I think, is what caused it, and I think that's why I say I believe that we're in transition phase here, because obviously someone bought up a ton of Bitcoin, and we can see it. It's evident here in the volume. There was definitely volume going into this buy. I unfortunately don't see the timestamps and how much Bitcoin was bought right now, but we could see that this thing was pumped, and this was, definitely a lot of accumulation. But then once things started to get out of hand, whether this was this candle is red with a good bit of wick space, though, so it's hard to say. That's why I wanted to drop this thing down. Point is, yes, this was probably an accumulation, and this is probably sellers overreacting, and that's very consistent with the market transition narrative that I've been talking about for so long. And you can see that right now, sell-side liquidity is pretty low, buy-side liquidity is low. They didn't chase the book. Sell-side liquidity is low because they just got all their orders filled. And so now sellers need to wake up, put more orders in the book so that liquidity on the sell-side book is, robust enough, or, that people can catch their orders and get them filled if they think that, the price is going down. I personally think that these sellers are making a mistake. I think that we're probably headed up to that, magic 8,200 number, but right now it seems like it's like this is a pretty big situation. A flash pump to 7,300. I'm paying attention here to the buys and sells. Very low liquidity moves now. This is almost it's almost like the run is over. Let's see if full retrace has been met. I would probably be getting ready to go long at around 7,200. I know that we're not going to be on till then, and unfortunately, I in order to trade, you have to be babysitting and watching like a hawk. But we do have some static support in this area. It looks like our biggest static area is going to be 7150. That 7190 aggregation with 46 pack and the one above it. Yeah, so you see how dynamic it was. It just flipped out. So 7200 has a 50 pack or so fluctuating. I would say this is a good time to see how we test 7200 and to get ready to go long. But bears do look like they're pretty concerned about the fact that we retraced this. So this might be some bottom sellers. I would really consider getting ready to go long after we break through. There we go. That was about a 40 pack sold. 337 Bitcoin sold in this 15-minute candle as is. And we've broken, and we just hit 7,200. That's a pretty good call. I would say, give it a little bit more time here. Let's see how 7,200 holds. But this looks like a good long opportunity. I think sellers just overreacted. It's not even January 1st yet, so people don't have to panic about January activity. That initial red January week. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So definitely, it's exciting times as always on Traders Take. You see that market just boom right within the 5 minutes. We're speaking massive pump back to the retrace. Joe, you're saying go long now, and I'm thinking with you. Joe Saz, thank you so much for wrapping up 2019. We can't even get through a Trader's Take without some action happening, so we cannot wait for tomorrow next year to speak to you, see what's happening with the cryptosphere. As always, that was Trader's Take for all our viewers at home. If you want more on blockchain and cryptocurrency, check us out at blocktv.com.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.